Hi, and welcome to Sociology 2600 Intro to Criminal Justice Studies. Today, I just wanted to walk you through our e-learning page to give you an idea of where to find things and how you'll be interacting with this online asynchronous course. So, on this first page here, you'll see the course homepage. Important on this page are things like news items. I regularly post reminders about assignment due dates that are upcoming and just sort of general course information. So these will appear here, and you can also subscribe to the news items by clicking on notifications and then sort of opting into what you want eLearning to then send you either a text or email message alerting to you to when something new is posted within the newses. You'll also see information on the calendar, which will also sort of outline upcoming due dates for the semester. You'll see sort of everything that is available or upcoming for you. The next tab that you want to explore is the Content tab. On the Content tab, it's broken up into a variety of different units. The first of which contains our course information. That's where you'll find things like the syllabus. Another important piece of information I like to direct students to is advice from former students. At the end of each semester, I like to get their best piece of advice for things they've learned along the way, sort of what stood out to them as something they wish they would have known or wish they would have paid more attention to and had more success with. So this is definitely a great place to start to give you an idea of how you should approach this course or best approach this course. There's also a couple of tutorials on sort of further information on how to subscribe to course news, check results of reading checks, look at feedback from unit quizzes, as well as enrichments and corrections assignments. Another key thing that I like to direct students to are these lecture recap videos. Basically what these are a way for you to check your knowledge. If you click into these, you'll see, here's the lecture recap game that you could play along with. It's a link to a Kahoot. You can start on a computer, play on your phone, and you'll test your knowledge. And then there's also a walkthrough where I sort of give you a video overview of sort of the thought process behind the question in terms of how you should have approached it. Outside of course information, you'll see the rest of the course is organized by unit. We have a total of 7 units. Within each unit, you'll see a few different sections. Reading checks, which are these reading quizzes that are designed to keep you accountable to reading the assigned readings so that way you can stay on top of everything. Everything is outlined in the syllabus as to when they're due. They're open so they open right before we start talking about them and they close on the day listed in the syllabus. You also see how each unit is divided into a series of lectures. Within these lectures, you'll see a presentation, which is just sort of the visual screenshots of the presentation. You'll see the transcript file, which is everything that's written within that visual presentation I've put into a Word document that you can use to take notes on, either by typing directly into the Word document yourself or printing out and taking your own handwritten notes. And then you'll see the lecture recording, which is sort of the audio that you can play as you're sort of clicking through the presentation slides. You'll also see an assignments tab if there are any available in that unit. When you click into it, it'll give you the instructions, but you can also see just at a glance sort of when these things are due and when access starts. For every assignment, you'll have at least a week to work on it. You'll also see mastery quiz attempts. These are sort of shortcuts. You can also, I'll show you later on in the video how you can directly access any of the quizzes as well. And then enrichments and corrections assignments. And so every unit is sort of organized in the same fashion. And then the last unit is the final exam and study guides. These enrichment and correction assignments move over here once their Dropbox version closes. So if you ever misplace your file or don't complete it the first opportunity, this is where you'll find that original file, as well as a link to sort of the final exam when that becomes available towards the end of the course. The next tab that we'll be using on occasion is the discussions tab. Really just one discussion board, and it's going to be at the end of the semester where I'm asking you to provide your next sort of words of wisdom to a future student so I can put that and update my file. For direct links to things, if you don't want to go through the content, you can do the assessments tab and you'll select quizzes, and you'll be able to see everything that is available to you. Right now, everything's a future quiz because I'm recording this before the semester starts. Similarly, any assignment you're going to find in the Dropbox. You'll see these available through here, as well as that's where you're going to find your enrichment and corrections. And the assessments is also the way you get to your gradebook. So overall, best practices for getting through this course is to first set a schedule and hold yourself to that schedule. I think the number one pitfall that students make the mistake of going into with online courses, and specifically my online courses, is not devoting enough time to it. This is not a course that you can wait until a couple hours before the deadline and do everything that you were supposed to do in the entire week in the course of an hour. I strongly encourage you to follow the schedule laid out in the syllabus. It gives you 2 or 3 days to do readings and reading quizzes, and it moves you on, rather than waiting to the very end of the deadlines. I also encourage students to work ahead as much as possible. There's nothing stopping you from reading more or taking notes ahead, listening to lecture recordings in advance of lectures coming in terms of when you'll be assessed on things. It's important to set that schedule as if you were in a regular in-person course. So if you think about a regular in-person course, you're meeting twice a week for about an hour and 15 minutes each session, so that's 2.5 hours. So at a minimum, you need to devote 2.5 hours to your online course. I think the best policies and students have the most success is when they can keep a consistent schedule. I'm always going to work on 2600 on these days and these times. And then you'll work ahead and make sure that you're going to meet any deadlines for assignments. But it's really important to stay consistent and stay on top of everything that's within this course. It may seem like there's a lot of coursework, but most of this is fairly easy and straightforward. The reading check quizzes are simple quizzes, 2-3 questions max, that just make sure that you've hit at least some of the highlights of what was contained in that assigned reading. The assignments that you'll be doing, you'll have more than a week to work on, and oftentimes there's not necessarily a definitively correct answer. I'm asking for your interpretation on things, for you to dig deeper into a particular topic of interest for that unit and related to that lecture for that week. Things like reading guides are designed to help you get through some of the denser readings that are outside of your textbook that are still assigned in the course. And those are going to help you in the long run as you prepare for the unit quizzes. Enrichments and corrections, I can't stress enough how important these are for your success. Even if you reach mastery on your first attempt, I still strongly suggest you complete these because these will become your study guide for the final exam. These are the best ways to study, and these are going to give you the most well-focused study guide possible by completing these enrichment and correction assignments. They're also required to complete additional attempts at the unit quizzes if you're unhappy or didn't reach mastery on your first attempt. Overall, the biggest thing is to make sure you're engaged in the course. Don't put things off. Don't wait till the last minute. And whenever possible, work ahead. Give yourself a cushion because things will come up. Events outside of your control. You get called into work unexpectedly. You get sick. You have a family emergency. Things will come up. The greater cushion you provide yourself, the easier you'll be able to recover from anything that you miss or any time that you have to take a pause on the course for. So this is sort of the overview of how to navigate the e-learning course and some general sort of tips or strategies of being successful within it. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me, and I'm happy to respond to you with those individual questions that you may have.